Hola, hello, my name is Natalia and welcome to Bori Abroad. Hello, my quarantine friends! Welcome to Travel Tuesday. And yes, this is still a travel channel, even though we're not traveling right now, but we're gonna make it work. In the spirit of college acceptances and everything like that, or maybe you're applying to a master's program because your plan to live in Brazil until November fell through because of this virus. No, just me. I know it's not just me out there. But we're gonna be talking about college abroad and what you should expect if you're thinking of studying somewhere that is not in your country or even in your state. I would feel like this applies to. If you don't know, I am from Puerto Rico, a tiny island in the Caribbean, and I went to college in the Big Apple, New York City. So that's abroad to me because I was moving somewhere where English was the dominant language, where the weather was completely different, and I was being exposed to a culture that even though I knew about, I didn't really know about. And I wanted to share some of the things that I have learned, some of the things that my friends who have also studied abroad have told me to help you guys maybe transition or mentally prepare yourselves. Before getting into the video, don't forget to subscribe and follow Bori Abroad on all your favorite social media platforms. There are videos Tuesday and Saturday. Saturdays is a new thing because hey, there's nothing else to do. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and comment down below if you have studied outside of your country or if you are going to be a freshman in college because that's so exciting. So let's get into it. Here are 5 things I learned going to college abroad. Number 1, you will never be prepared. If you're going to a new country or somewhere with a very different culture than yours, you can do all the research you want. You could have visited. You could really understand the culture, but researching it and visiting it and living in it constantly are 2 very different things. So it doesn't matter how prepared you are, you still might feel a little culture shock. And that's okay because that's an exciting thing about going somewhere you haven't been before. Here's an example that happened to me. I went to the school in the Bronx. I am from Puerto Rico. As you may know or may not know, the Bronx is full of Puerto Ricans. I was a tour guide at my institution, and whenever I said I was from Puerto Rico, parents would always say,
"Oh, you're in the Bronx, you must feel right at home."
And I would always say, but it's not really the same. Even though I was surrounded by some sort of culture that is similar to mine, the reality of Puerto Ricans from the Bronx to Puerto Ricans from the island is very different to each other. So no, I did not feel at home. Plus, Puerto Rico is a tropical island. The Bronx is cold. Really cold. The Bronx is full of people I had never seen before. New York City was filled with cultures and people and customs that I had never experienced. I had to change my language to English 24/7. I had been to New York before. It was still a culture shock, but I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. Second, you might think you're going to expand your horizons and meet people of all different sorts of cultures and places, and while that might be true, you will always gravitate to what you know. Hear me out. I love meeting new people. I love learning about new cultures, but in college, I hung out with Puerto Rican people and Latino people because that's the group I felt the most comfortable with, and that's the group that I had the most in common with. I have a friend who went to Pittsburgh, and even though the diversity of Latinos wasn't the greatest, she joined a salsa group because what? Puerto Ricans love to salsa. So you will always gravitate to something that is part of you and part of your culture, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just keep in mind that you will be exposed to other things and you should take advantage of it. But there's nothing wrong with being in your comfort zone. And my comfort zone was mostly hanging out with Latino people. I have friends from Chicago, I have friends from New York, who are definitely not Latino, who I love very much, who I've learned so much from. When I was in Brazil, the orientation, who did I gravitate to? The Latinos. I talked to mostly everyone and had a conversation about X or Y or Z, but who did I hang out with and who did I gravitate to? Like immediately, the Latino crew. There's nothing wrong with that. I expose myself to different things, but keep in mind you'll probably gravitate to what you know, and that is not a bad thing as long as you don't miss out on other opportunities that you're exposed to. 3, you're gonna change. Why? Because you're being exposed to something completely different to where you came from. You won't notice until you go back home and you're like, I don't think like that anymore. I don't act like that anymore. I don't use that type of language anymore. Why? Because you've been exposed to something new. When I came back home for summer or Christmas break, I would always be talking in English here or there. My brain had to adjust to speaking in Spanish 24/7, and vice versa when I left the island. Other than language, you're gonna have new attitudes, new perspectives, and this especially was something really eye-opening for me since New York City is such a diverse city. It's insane. So I learned so much about LGBTQ plus rights, which a lot of Puerto Ricans don't talk about. I learned about all the cultures that New York has. I learned more about American culture because even though I thought I knew about American culture, it's very different living in it. The people that you hang around will influence you. The environment that you are in will influence you, and it will change you. It doesn't have to be for the worse. It can be for greatness. I have so many new thoughts about so many different issues that if I didn't expose myself to a completely different environment, I would have never experienced. So keep that in mind. You're gonna change, but change for the better. Learn about your new surroundings, learn about new perspectives. It can be an amazing thing, and you'll grow a lot as a person. Number 4, you'll really appreciate your time home and where you lived. I loved going back home for Christmas break or summer break because you don't realize that you miss your home. You might be caught up in all of the excitement of your new environment, but you're gonna miss your home. You're gonna appreciate everything that you grew up in, that you grew up seeing, your family, your friends, the food, the music that your culture and your roots have to offer. So you will really, really learn to appreciate it because times home will be limited. I went home 3 times a year. That was it. And while I didn't feel homesick with all the hustle and bustle of college, because you're busy, you're exploring your new home, you won't get tired of it because you're so excited, I would hope. But always take a step back and appreciate where you live because trust me, those Christmas breaks and those summer breaks, you're gonna really, really appreciate. And number 5, you are going to be challenged academically if you're going somewhere completely new. For me, it was mostly language because even though I am fluent in English, writing an academic essay and writing a text message is not the same thing. My freshman year, I had to work really hard and see my professors all the time to see how could I improve my writing. So that was my academic challenge. When I worked in Brazil for a week and a half at this university, the teaching style was a bit different to what my college offered. You're gonna learn new teaching styles from new professors. You might work in your second language. You might learn new styles of writing. It'll always be a bit of an academic challenge at the beginning, but I'm sure you'll get used to it. And as long as you work really hard in the beginning, that will definitely pay off in the rest of your college career. So those were the 5 things I learned while I did college abroad in New York City. I hope you took something away from this. College is an amazing time. I really miss it sometimes, especially like being in the same environment with your friends, being in a completely different city, the city that never sleeps. It really doesn't. If you're going to college, I do wish you the best, and if you're going to college abroad, get excited for your new adventure because it'll be amazing. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment down below if you're going to college or if you went to college abroad. Don't forget to subscribe and follow Bori Abroad on all your social media platforms, and I will see you guys Saturday. Bye!